They were both raptors, I could tell. One was larger than the other, and one was moving way faster. There was a red-tailed hawk and a peregrine falcon.
If you like nature photography, stick around. We have Danny here. Hey, Danny, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing well.
Yeah, just give an introduction about yourself to the viewers here.
My name's Danny, and I'm a nature and wildlife photographer based in Monterey, California. I've been shooting photography for probably 4 years now. Not a very long time, but it's definitely a hobby that I've invested all of my free time in, and I really enjoy what I do.
So you have a normal full-time job. This is just a hobby for you. Is that accurate to
Yeah,
say?
yeah. I would like to consider it more than a hobby, but truthfully, I'm at the hobby level. I do have a full-time job as a mechanic here in Monterey.
Nice. And what about outside of photography?
I spend a lot of my time working, and photography is what I invest myself in every hour outside of work. If I'm not out at a location photographing, then I'm on the computer researching locations, researching wildlife databases, editing videos on YouTube, learning from the professionals. It just envelops my free time.
Well, let's not keep the people waiting here. Let's go to your picture showcase. I picked one of your pictures that you sent me. Hold on, I'll share my screen. 1 second. Yeah, just give us the background on this shot here.
This is really my favorite photo. This is a photo taken at Asilomar State Beach in Pacific Grove. This photo really encompasses the three requisites that a good landscape photo requires, which would be a solid foreground, midground, and a background. And not only does this photo capture all three of those, it's dramatic. It's also a composite photo, which
Oh,
I just began practicing. It's two separate exposures pieced together. And the hardest part of this photo was capturing the waves washing ashore, because if you're not careful, you could get a lot of ghosting and a lot of movement in that water. You can imagine that the foreground shot was a pretty fast exposure.
yeah, I like how you have those amazing clouds on the top right and the top left, kind of looking at the sun, admiring it.
I see what I see in the photo, and it's very valuable to me to get the perspectives of other people, especially established photographers, because I think that everyone kind of sees it in their own way. How you painted the picture with the clouds kind of looking at the setting sun is almost poetic. I really appreciate the perspective, Nathan. Thank you.
Let me get your next one here. We're going into the animal kingdom now.
Yes. Owls are definitely my strong suit. I think my first photo of a wild animal was of a hawk, like a red-tailed hawk in a tree. When I was exposed to the concept of photographing an owl, it really enveloped my senses. It's all I wanted to do. I spent so much time looking for owls, researching on where I could find them, scouring eBird, and it took about a year and a half
Wow.
until I finally photographed a great horned owl. This is the cover of the yearly report from the Monterey Audubon Society. I had found a family of great horned owls locally here in the Monterey Peninsula. I've been so fortunate to be able to follow them as they produce young and they grow and they leave the nest, and it happens again every year. And this photo here highlights the owls in that area where I photographed them.
Did anyone message you, be like, "Oh, I saw your picture on the Sanderling"?
No, they didn't have the opportunity to, because as soon as I knew that this would happen, I reached out to everybody.
Oh,
So
okay.
I blew it up. It was all over my social media. I was too proud.
Well, subscribe to my channel because I actually interviewed a guy that only shoots owls and he does owl tours and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to. That's awesome. That's kind of what I aspire to do also. But part of me wants to keep the owls kind of private and let them exist in a way that they're designed to, and not overexpose them. I've definitely thought about showing people the location, but my heart tells me they're either better left alone, or I'm the only person who could harass them with my camera.
Yeah, we did have a discussion about the privacy of owls too. So yeah, that'll be interesting discussion you'll wanna look at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's go to the next one. Well, here's the nature part of nature photography.
This photo is one of my favorite photos. This is a shot at Garrapata State Park in
Hmm.
Big Sur. I kind of have an affinity for the color green. It does something to you when you when you're out in nature and you're smelling the smells of wood and creeks and everything else that is involved with Mother Nature, the color green is so vibrant and it's showcased in this image. And I really enjoyed the composition of this photo. It's a little mysterious. You don't see where it's going, but if you expand, you can also see the creek beside it. And the foreground wasn't darkened through editing. That's all natural light. And
Oh.
in
Hmm.
yeah, there was no vignetting in this photo. The sun had cast its light onto that patch of the trail and it illuminated it and with all the young vibrant greenery and it's just really pretty. I really like that
Yeah.
photo.
It's very peaceful. It makes me want to go hiking. I wish we had a trail like this in San Diego, but all our trails are pretty open for the most part.
Big Sur is a very beautiful place and that's a very beautiful park.
Are those trees a natural bridge, or do you think people put them over the creek there?
That's a fallen tree that was cut and the rest of it was taken away. If you're there and you look across that tree, it doesn't go anywhere. It just
Oh,
dead ends. But there are parts of the trail where they use trees to make a bridge so you can cross the creek. Those trees certainly do exist.
well, before we look at your next picture, I'll ask you a question here. Do you have a dream animal or a dream location? You're like, I really want to get this shot, this kind of shot before I die. It's on your bucket list.
Yeah, probably bald eagles diving for fish. It sounds really dramatic. Bald eagles are so visually rewarding. They're very pretty. They look aggressive. Their colors can be vibrant. And certainly an eagle diving into the water for a big salmon, that sounds like a wonderful opportunity. So that's definitely something I would love to photograph. Yeah,
I love how
yeah.
you're this nature guy, peaceful, and you're wearing a Metallica
Yeah.
shirt. I love that dichotomy. You're like, I love nature, but I love the rock
Yeah, I love
too.
a pretty sunset, but Metallica. Yeah.
Okay, here's the next one. Is that Peregrine Falcon?
It is. Good job. I'll tell you a quick story about this photo. This is at the Salinas River National Wildlife Refuge. Off in the distance of the trail, there's a marshy area. There were two birds. They were both raptors, I could tell. One was larger than the other, and one was moving way faster. So what it was is it was a red-tailed hawk and a peregrine falcon, both looking to capture this American Avocet, which was obviously the target in the water. I saw it and I just walked as briskly as one can walk with a 500 millimeter lens attached to them. By the time I got to this event, the red-tailed hawk had given up. It was outdone by the faster but smaller peregrine falcon. It just so happened that as soon as I got within range to photograph it, the falcon had made its final descent on the American Avocet. And every time it dove for the Avocet would dive into the water out of the reach
Oh,
of the falcon, and then it'd come up for air, and the peregrine falcon would bank, and it'd come back down. It did this like 11 times, and finally, when I got close enough, the Avocet was exhausted. It was tired. And the Falcon made its final push and it picked it up. My camera was going. I was capturing 30, 40 frames. And this was one of the more successful frames was of the Falcon with the Avocet in its talons to be carried away. And that's life.
I love how it's like looking at its prey. The other bird is so defeated. His head is like,
It's sad,
yeah.
it definitely paints a picture. It looks sad because nature is wild and we shouldn't interfere. But yeah,
This is a more artistic direction here.
this is at Pebble Beach, and oftentimes the Lone Cypress, it's the most photographed tree in the world. Oftentimes when it's photographed, it is front and center and it's the prime subject of the photo. What I did in this photo is the lone cypress is there, and it's a reminder of where you are and how beautiful the Monterey Peninsula is. But the subject of the photo is actually the dead cypress tree right in front of you in the foreground. The cypress is there, and it may be the first thing that you notice. But as your eye wanders, you do see this dead and decrepit cypress tree in the foreground. And I like how it came out. I'm also expanding into black and white photography.
What made you choose black and white versus color for this picture? Did you try both and just you like one
Yeah,
more than the other?
that's probably the best question is in this photo, it's a gloomy, cloudy day, and I photographed it, but I couldn't really retrieve any colors.
Mm.
There wasn't very much tone contrast, and I wasn't really able to make the photo pop in a way that I really wanted to. And I
Yeah.
showed a friend of mine, and he was like, "Well, dude, why don't you make it a black and white photo?" I was like, "Whoa, I don't know, let me see." So like I had my phone on me. I showed it to him on my phone, and I just dialed the saturation all the way to 0, and I was like, "Whoa."
That's what
Dude,
friends are for. That's what friends are for.
dude, you may have saved this photo. So I went home and I put it through Lightroom and I messed with the highlights and the shadows and it sparked something inside of me. And it's something that I'm definitely going to experiment with further. I really like the drama that exists in a black and white photo.
Another question before we look at more pictures. How do you think you could improve? What aspect of photography do you feel like you want to improve on?
That's a good question. I feel like I want to find my brand of photography. I think that I've already kind of established it with wildlife, but I'm expanding into landscape photography and I'm trying to find my place. And that's what I want to work on the most is finding the landscapes, the climate, the topography that makes me feel the most rewarded with my photo.
Hey, you have to be honest with yourself, right? Give an honest assessment.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Here's the one we were talking about right beforehand that you sent me. Now this is a sweet shot.
Yeah, yeah. This is probably my most popular photograph by far. So I had known of a spot where bobcats exist. The landscape, it just suits them. I had ventured out to this location, and just like with the owls, I had gone over and over and over and unsuccessful. The closest I can get is bobcat scat on the floor. And I give a lot of credit to my roommate because I come home and I'm like, oh, I'm so bummed I didn't see a bobcat or I didn't see an owl. And she's like, when it's your time, the universe will make it happen for you. But you can't be upset about it, you know? And and I definitely that definitely was received with immediate effect. I began to go out and just be happy that I was in that environment. This one time that I went out to this location, I was out on the trail and I encountered a couple and they see my big lens and they're like, "Whoa, what are you here photographing?" I tell them I had gone to this spot so many times that I had my response permanently etched into my brain. I come here for bobcats, but I settle for birds. I want so that's what I told them. I come here for bobcats and I settle for birds. And they're like, "Oh, that's funny because I know that I saw a bobcat over there." And I'm like,
Oh
"That's cool.
wow.
That's cool." So I'm hiking back to the car and I encounter another person out on the trail and they're like, "Wow, what are you photographing?" And I'm like, I'm here for the bobcats, but I settle for birds." And while he's talking to me about how much he sees bobcats, I'm looking past him, like directly, like he's talking to me and I'm looking right
Yeah.
past him into the woods and there's a bobcat right there. I'm like, "Yo, like, there's a bobcat right there." He looks, he's like, "Oh, that's cool." And I'm like, "What do you
What do you mean
mean? I'm
that's
so
cool?
I'm so excited." So anyways, I have my camera on my tripod. I plant it. I'm focused in on the bobcat and he's napping.
Hmm.
And he opens his eyes and he looks right at me. And it's the first time it's the first time I've seen a bobcat, but his eyes are like penetrating. They're looking right at me. And my heart's like, I'm stunned. But I wasn't what woke him up. He heard something. He heard something rustling down at the bottom of the kind of a little foothill that he's napping on. He creeps down low on all fours, making no sound, and then pounces.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
got it all. My first bobcat encounter, I got the whole scene. There's a short fight. There's dust everywhere, and he comes up with a gopher snake, and you could see the
That's
snake.
karma for you going there all the time. That has to be some karma for you. Just keep trying, trying, trying.
Yeah,
That's
I'm a big
crazy.
believer in balance. I follow carefully the advice of my roommate. You do your thing, you go out there, and when the universe is ready, she'll give you the opportunity that you deserve. It was a big male bobcat, and he captured the gopher snake, and he looked at me like you see in this photo, and he's like, "You're welcome." Then he vanished into the bushes.
I didn't know they ate snakes. You didn't see it like trying to eat it or anything, right? It just vanished.
He no, he took his meal and he wanted to eat in privacy.
I love how the tail of the snake is like wrapped around its nose
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Again, I appreciate your perspective because that's not something that I noticed until right now.
There's a super close up.
Yeah, yeah. Look at that guy. And if you look down, you can see the head of the snake looking back up. It's a little dramatic, you know, the fight for survival.
Oh, that's the
He's
head at the bottom here.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
He's watching himself being chewed up, really.
He's watching himself being eaten. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It is crazy.
Well, I don't know how we're gonna top that, but we'll try with the next picture. A little more peaceful than a bobcat attack here.
Yeah, I did live in Portland, Oregon for a couple of years, and it's such a beautiful place. It's very, very green. Everything grows, and it grows everywhere. You kind of have to endure the months and months of rain to be rewarded with scenes like this, which are very lush and greenery and waterfalls.
Do you know the name of this waterfall?
This is Multnomah Falls in east of Portland, Oregon, and this was in the springtime when the volume was at its pinnacle. It's a long exposure. You can see that it's a long exposure. The bridge just offers a wonderful composition. I don't know what the plant is on the rock face, but that
Oh yeah.
kind of
The,
orangish, mossy substance growing from the rock, it really adds some like needed contrast to the photo as well, because it's very green.
did you hike up to the bridge there?
No, I've been before. Um, and I'd really ventured here just for this opportunity. I've been to the top. You can hike all the way to the top of the waterfall, and it's
Oh,
pretty
okay.
neat. But that day, I really wanted to capture that photo, and I'm happy with what came out.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, very peaceful. Okay, we're almost done here. Another kind of last question for you. Any wild or crazy kind of encounters that you can think of during all these trips into the wilderness? Or out there doing photography.
Oh, you know, I do. I was charged by a coyote in the
Charged by a coyote?
yeah, in the same place where I photographed the bobcat. What happened first was I got down on a knee to be at eye level with the coyotes because in photographing an animal, you want to be eye level with them. My lens had the reach. I got down and I pointed in my camera at the coyote and it made eye contact with me and then it started running at me.
Oh
And I'm
my
like,
god.
this is beautiful. You know, who doesn't want to capture a coyote running at you? It sounded like a good idea until it came right at me a lot faster than what I felt comfortable with, and it was charging at me. I think that it thought that I was something that I wasn't. I saw the look on its face, and I wasn't gonna deal with that anymore. I leapt up off the ground, and I stretched out my hands and my camera, and I yelled. I yelled at it, and then it realized, oh, you're not prey, you're a human. And so it just kind of veered over to the right, and I was able to photograph it still. I got a pretty good photo of it after it charged at me. But it found a high ground where it can observe the land, so it stopped up there, and that's when I photographed it. And it was a moment that I will never forget.
Let's look at the last picture. We'll wrap things up here. Back to our furry friends.
This is the same owl that was on the first photo, just a different time. And so this right here is the matriarch of the family. This is the mother great horned owl. And it's such a beautiful photo of her, kind of in a calm state. You can see that her ear tufts are slanted parallel with the ground. They're not raised like you would see some great horned owls. And when they're raised like that, they're in an alert state and they're looking to intimidate you. But right here, she looks very chill. Her tufts are down. her eyes are focused on something. It was in the evening. And that's kind of when the owls wake up to start doing their evening thing. They're hunting for food. She's working double duty because she's got mouths to feed. She's out many hours of the day looking for voles and squirrels for her young birds.
Mm. That pine cone is defying the laws of gravity. How is that staying on the tree? Is it attached to the tree? I
It
don't know.
is,
What's
yeah,
going on
yeah.
there?
I wouldn't know these things if I didn't submerge myself in this grove of trees where the owls live. Pine cones don't always grow out of branches. Sometimes they grow out of the trunk of the tree.
Interesting. I did not know that. Yeah.
One of the questions that I get that I find to be kind of funny in hindsight is people ask, well, how do you see owls during the day? I thought owls only exist at night. And I mean, yeah, owls are active at night, but they don't just disappear from the universe during the daytime. They still have to go home, sleep. They're still there. The hard part is that they're very well camouflaged and they don't move. So they're hard to spot, but if you're patient enough and you take your time and you do your research, you'll find where they exist during the daytime, and that's how I was able to find them in the first place. And I love to photograph the owls. They're so photogenic. I mean, this owl is beautiful.
Yeah, the details in the feathers is incredible. All the different colors and layers, stuff like that.
It's been a very rewarding experience learning about the great horned owls and being able to photograph them. It's one of my proudest moments in photography.
Definitely paid off. I think that's all the photos. People want to reach out to you. Do you prefer Instagram, your website? How do you prefer people reach out to you?
I do have a website. It's dldslr.com. It has been updated for a while. Primarily, you can reach me on my Instagram profile at dldslr.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast and showing us your lovely photos. If you don't mind just hanging out here 1 minute, I want to make sure everything gets uploaded online. Thank you so
For
much for
sure.
doing the
Thank
podcast.
thank you so much, Nathan. The pleasure's mine.
Have a good night.
Bye.